Hello, my lovely friends. My name is Ava, and here are all of the books that I read last month in December. Buckle up, y'all. This is a lot. I read 26 books in December. 26 books! So, excuse Winnie. So we're going to be talking about those 26 books. Let's get started. The first book that I ended up reading in December was a historical romance. This is The Raven Prince by Elizabeth Hoyt. In this historical romance, our heroine is becoming the hero's secretary, which when he hires a secretary, he doesn't know that he's hiring a woman, but she shows up. And he really needs one. He's lost his past two secretaries, and she proves to him like she's able to be his secretary even though she's a woman. And that's essentially all to it. I don't want to say too much about these books because I never want to spoil them. Tropes for this one, it's boss, employee, forced proximity, hidden identity, because one of them may or may not be hiding their identity. Okay, it's a historical romance. You have a scarred character and a widower. Next, I have Where We Started by Ashley Munoz. This is a motorcycle club romance. Our heroine is back in her small town after she finds out that her dad has passed away, and she is at the funeral, and there she bumps into her first love, her first everything, our hero, who is taking her father's place as the motorcycle club president, and she is like distraught because she actually hated the motorcycle club life, and she is so upset that this man who she was fully in love with became the president of a club that she despises. It takes place in two different time periods, in the present day and then flashes back to the past when they first fell for each other. Tropes for this one, you have angsty, childhood crush, hate to love, a motorcycle club, second chance romance, and it is a small town romance. I then picked up The Demon Court by Emma Hamm. I purchased this audiobook when the Audible sale was happening. It was like only like $4.50, and this book is long. It's 563 pages. Like, the audiobook is also pretty long. So I obviously wanted to read this one because I love Emma Hamm's books. This is our first book in the 7 Deadly Demons series. So each book is about a 7 deadly sin, I'm assuming. This one is about lust, and our heroine is a witch, and she has been sent by her mother and has been trained her whole life to take down lust. All lust knows is what he knows. He knows lust, that's it. He's the embodiment of lust, and so when this woman comes to him and is not able to feel lust or his like magic at all, he is very intrigued by her, but he doesn't know that she has some ulterior motives to meeting him and getting to know him. Tropes for this one, it's a fantasy romance. It has great banter. You have a character with horns, okay? It's great for gripping, okay? It's a long romance. It's slow burn. It is smutty as heck. Touch her and die, and there are witches. It was December, so I of course picked up some holiday romances. I picked up The Matzo Ball by Jean Meltzer. I think this is the only book by Jean Meltzer I had left to read from her backlist, and it's her first one that I remember like hearing about. This one is a childhood like crush to lovers romance. So these two characters are both Jewish, and they are back home where they grew up for the holiday season, right? And the heroine's parents kind of like want them to be together in a sense. So there's a little bit of a setting up here, but the hero is putting together this matzah ball. He's a very big like event planner, makes these giant events for very powerful, popular people. And so he's like, you know what, I want to do a Jewish event. So that's when he puts it on the matzah ball. And the heroine, for a specific reason, I don't want to spoil what it is because I love that little aspect in here, needs a ticket to the matzah ball, but it's all sold out. So she decides to volunteer instead, and she kind of gets roped into some things, and the hero plays some pranks on her that maybe remind her of when they were kids, when they went to a Jewish summer camp together and they played pranks on each other as kids, but they actually secretly liked each other. So he's like, let me play some pranks again, and the heroine does not take it well. Does not take it well. So this one is really fun. If you're wanting a clean romance, I recommend this one for the holiday season. This is Childhood Crush, chronic illness representation. The heroine, I believe, has chronic fatigue syndrome, which I don't think I ever read about before this, so I really love that representation. Jean Meltzer has a lot of disability and chronic illness in her books. I think in every single book she has a representation of some sort. It's a closed door romance. It's a holiday read. It's involving the Jewish culture. There's a prank war. It's a second chance romance. In December, I was gonna come out with a vlog, and I don't know if that will ever come out. Maybe once I finish it. I've only read 3 books for it, and it's like 6 minutes long because the books are all novella length. So I was gonna come out with for Vlogmas, which ended up not really happening at all. Vlogmas was a flop for me this year, but I was gonna come out with a weird romance vlog. So it would be novellas that I read that have like sentient object beings in them. So I read Unhinged by Vera Valentine, which is the romance between a heroine and a door. Okay, that's all I'll say. It was ridiculous, and who knows if that vlog will ever see the light of day. Let me know if you want that. But this is one of the books I read for that vlog. And I've read 2 other ones. One was a phone, and then I forget the other one that I read, but I read 3. Yeah, it's only 6 minutes long. Like, I need to read more, obviously, for that vlog if that's gonna come out. Another holiday read was Can I Tell You Something by Holly June Smith. This one is really fun. It's an NSFW audio guy, so he makes NSFW audios online, which those are always fun. Okay, but I really liked that aspect of it. Anyway, the heroine is like a big fan of his. She's in her family's cabin with her parents for Christmas time, and her brother shows up and brings his best friend with him, and it's the guy that she's been listening to for a while. And she's like, oh my gosh, my brother's best friend makes these audios that I listen to all the time. And he kind of figures out that she's a fan of his. She doesn't make it apparent, but he goes and stalks her on Instagram and realizes like she's following him and has actually sent him DMs, and he's like, ooh, let's play around with this. Let's do something. So this was so hot and so fun. Tropes for this one, you have brother's best friend. It's a Christmas book. You have duet narration. So if you get the audiobook, it's duet narration, which I love those. It's a forced proximity and it is smutty. I ended up picking up the second book in the Stone Rider series by Ashley Munoz. I did take a break after reading this one just because I felt like book number 1 and book number 2 were really similar and I didn't want to get like burnt out. I've done the same thing with Ice Planet Barbarians before, where I'm like, these are all getting the same, so let's pause, because I don't want to hate the books just because I read them back to back. So yeah, Where We Belong is book number 2 in this Motorcycle Club romance series. This one is about a head honcho guy in the Motorcycle Club we read about in book number 1, and the heroine from book number 1's best friend. This one is angsty. You have hero falls first, a Motorcycle Club romance, and they are also roommates. I love that little twist. I love roommate romances. I decided to pick up a monster romance. I read Wed to the Orc by Layla Faye. This is one of the few Layla Faye books I had not yet read. I've not read all of her books yet, but I need to obviously. But yeah, this is one of her arranged monster mates books. So each book of the series is about a human woman who gets like genetically matched with her perfect like mate partner, and that's our hero, who is an orc scientist, and he loves his work. He like wants a wife, but he also doesn't, because he doesn't want to be bothered, because he just wants to like work in his laboratory all day instead of talk to her. So she's very upset when she realizes like she's gonna be alone there, like he's not gonna talk to her, and so she kind of sticks it to him and inserts herself into his life, and he's just gonna have to deal with it. So this is a monster romance. It has orcs, you have a scientist, and the size difference in here is delicious. Next, I picked up a very hyped romance. This one has been on many TBRs, and I know it's some people's favorite. This is Priest by Sierra Simone. If you can tell by the title, this is a priest romance. Our hero is a priest, and he ends up falling for a woman, and it's very forbidden because he's not supposed to be doing stuff. Okay, he's not supposed to be. That's all I can really say about this, because I didn't know anything going in, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm only gonna say that this is a priest romance, and it is forbidden. And let me list the tropes. There's dirty talk. It's a forbidden romance. You have a priest, a secret relationship. It is smutty and taboo. So overall, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if I'll continue on with the other books. Let me know if you think I should. But I honestly didn't find anything like wrong with it, because I am not a part of the Catholic faith. I am a Christian. I'm not a part of the Catholic faith. So I don't have a priest to confess to. So that part was not like bad for me, like at all. I was just putting it off because it's so hyped, and I have a hard time reading hyped books. But overall, this is a very enjoyable read for me. This next one was one of my actually favorite like holiday reads that I read this year. This is The Geek Who Saved Christmas. This one's by Annabeth Albert, and I listened to this on Audible Plus. You can listen to it for free. So if you have an Audible membership, you can listen to this book for free with your membership. This is a neighbor's romance. Our hero on the right, the Silver Fox man, he just got a call from his younger brother, and he really wants to propose to his girlfriend when he comes over to his brother's house for Christmas. And he's like, crap, like it is not decorated at all. I've kind of been like bah humbug this year and haven't like decorated for anything. So here's his next door neighbor. Our hero with the glasses on the cover is kind of like the decorating champ for the neighborhood, and so he asks for his help to fix up his house and get it all festive for Christmas so his brother can can propose. I was about to say can compose. No, can propose to his girlfriend. And they actually end up falling for each other along the way. And there's totally opposites, but it was so stinking cute. The festiveness in this one was beautiful. I loved it so much. It was also really funny, and it was really dynamic too, because you wouldn't think like a holiday romance would have that much depth to it, but both of them have their reasons for not wanting a relationship or not believing the other one would want to be in a relationship, but they actually do. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. For tropes for this one, it's a Christmas romance. It's Grumpy Sunshine, goodness. It's an MM romance, and they are neighbors. Next, I picked up Run Posey Run by Kate C. Wells. This one has been on many TBRs, and I finally got to it. This one is a mafia romance. Our hero is a mafia boss man, and he's actually in a relationship already with Posey at the beginning of this book. Then someone ends up sending him a Smex tape of her doing stuff with another guy, and he's so upset. He ends up kicking her out of the house. It's like, you cheated on me, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you better run. You better hope I don't find you after this. And so she does. She runs away, she hides, and then the hero finds out, wait a minute, that tape has been altered, and she doesn't really look the same, because she told him when he found, like, when he was sent the tape, like, hey, that happened a long time ago. I've not been cheating on you. He didn't believe her, and so he goes deeper into the video and realizes, oh, she might be right. And so he tries to go track her down and get her back, and he's finding it very difficult. So this one was so fun. I really enjoyed this one. I do want to pick up the next book in this series, but this is a good mafia romance that can like be read as a standalone. And I love a man who grovels, so this man needed to grovel. Tropes: you have a billionaire hero groveling, in love with a criminal, mafia, a morally gray hero, an obsessed hero, possessive hero. You have a sociopath. He is a sociopath. The toucher and die trope, and he is a villain. So she's fallen for the villain. This next one was so fun. This is Charming Your Dad by Sarah Blue. This is actually a Halloween romance. And I read it during Christmas time. I don't care. So our heroine finds out that her boyfriend has been cheating on her. She's a witch, and so she can't really do anything magically to get back at him, because there's like a witch council, and she's already had like 2 strikes on her from the council because she's done something to humans when she shouldn't have. So she's like, crap, I can't do nothing. So she's got to find out a non-magical way to get back at him, and she finds out that his very hot dad is in town, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna seduce this man. So she doesn't know though that his dad is a demon, so that goes into play as well. Man, this one is hot. It is fun. Like, please pick this one up if you haven't yet. I love the ex's dad trope. Other tropes that you have is age gap, demons, there's the ex's dad, morally gray heroes. It's a paranormal romance. It is smutty, and there are witches. This next one was really cute. It's one I've been anticipating for quite a while. This is Darn It All by Evie Mitchell. This is her 3rd book in the All Access series, which are romances that Evie Mitchell's written where there are predominantly people who are disabled, have disabilities. So this one is a friends to lovers romance. This is the twin brother to the guy from book number 2 and his romance with one of the girls in their friend group. Her name is Mai, and she loves fashion. She is a fashion designer, and he secretly signs her up for this fashion design reality show, kind of like Next in Fashion on Netflix. I love that show. This is what that show reminded me of. So he signs her up for that. She gets like the email saying that she got in. However, there's a twist this season where it's couples edition, and so she's like, well, I'm not in a couple, like I don't have a significant other. And he's like, okay, we'll fake date, we'll do it so you can be like, get your dream. Hopefully someone can see you and hire you to be a fashion designer, right? And so they have to fake date on this reality show about making clothes also when he doesn't know how to sew. So it's actually really cute. I really enjoy this. I love a friends to lovers romance. So other tropes, you have amputee representation. The hero is an amputee. He got in a car accident and lost his leg. There's anxiety representation with Mai, the heroine. There's also bi representation with our hero. It's a cute but hot romance. Like, it's hot. You have fake dating, friends to lovers, a golden retriever hero for sure. There's great banter, low angst. There's one bed because they have to share a room during the like reality show when they're filming it, and obviously people think that they're together, so there's only one bed. It's a reality show, and it is a romance with disability representation. Layla came out with a Christmas romance, so of course I had to pick it up. This is A Very Stalker Christmas by Layla Faye. This is her first non-monster romance, like only contemporary romance characters, only humans in this book. But it is a darker read despite the cover. So our hero is next door neighbors to our heroine. They're complete opposites. She is kind of like a slob, is very busy, doesn't have time to clean up a lot, and he is very neat and tidy. And someone's been actually taking care of her apartment and her for the past few months. And she's like, someone keeps sneaking into my apartment and folding my laundry and baking me good. Like, what is going on? And it's our hero. Our hero is being a stalker, going into her house at night when she's asleep and doing all these things. The hero has traumatic mutism, so he is unable to speak because he experienced some trauma when he was in the military, I'm pretty sure. But if you're wanting a short holiday read with a stalker hero who is actually really sweet, I really recommend this one. This one has a lot of tropes. So, okay, it's character driven, it's a Christmas romance, damaged hero, there's dirty talk, hero falls first, it's a novella, it's on Kindle Unlimited, it's a neighbor's romance, there's no third act breakup, you have an obsessed hero, opposites attract, romance with disability representation, and there is speechless representation, and you have a stalker hero. Next, I have The Forbidden Man by Karina Halley. I was just doing all the forbidden romances in December. Our heroine is actually a few years older than her hero, so you have an older woman romance. She has been hired to be the medical trainer on this European football team, so that's soccer for us Americans, and she ends up falling for one of the players on the team, and he goes hardcore, like wants her so bad. I love that part in here. I love seeing a man fall hard for his woman. I love an obsessed man, and this is what our hero was in here. So that's fairly what it is. Forbidden romance, because she's obviously not supposed to be falling for him. It's an age gap romance. It's angsty. There's caretaking scene. The hero gets hurt on the field and the heroine like runs after him. It's forbidden. Hero falls first. An obsessed hero, older woman. They have a secret relationship. There is soccer. It's a sports romance, and you have a worshipping hero. Next, I have Another by Fiona Cole. I've read a few books in the Voyeur series, but this is book number, I think, 4, a surprise pregnancy romance. Our two characters hooked up, I think, in a previous book, and they come across each other one day on a blind photo shoot date. Like, I've seen those online, and they're like really cool to me. So two people get picked up to go on a blind date, but it's like a photo shoot also, and this one's a boudoir photo shoot. And after the photo shoot, they go ham. They have it all out. They get it on, right? And the heroine figures out that she's pregnant afterward, but she has no way to contact him. And the next time they bump into each other again, she's visibly very pregnant. And he's like, is that my baby? And she's like, huh, yeah. This one is Forced Proximity, a one-night stand to more, surprise baby, and it is a workplace romance because when they see each other again, it's actually in an office. I decided to jump the rails a little bit and pick up a monster romance. I picked up Viper by Naomi Lucas, the first book in her Naga Bride series. So each book in this series is about a Naga creature, which is like man looking on top and like a snake body, okay? But he's like red all over. What I didn't know going in, I thought this was an alien romance and it took place on an alien planet. No, this is post-apocalyptic. It's Earth, but the Earth has been taken over by like these creatures instead. Like humans don't live here, so the heroine live on this satellite orbiting Earth. They have for like a few hundred years now, and they want to go back to Earth to see if it's inhabitable, kind of like the 100. The humans that have come back to Earth get like a notice from these Naga creatures, which they didn't know existed on this planet. And I was like, hey, we won't attack you. We will leave you be if you give us women. Like, plain and simple, give us women. So the heroine is one of those women. Our hero sets his eyes on her. She has red hair, and he's like, she matches my skin. She's obviously meant for me. So yeah, it's about him hunting her down because the women get like shoved by their men out of the spacecraft. The Naga creatures like go ham to try and capture the woman that they want. So I didn't expect this to be dark, but it was. I feel like it was the dark romance, but it's like post-apocalyptic with monsters. Like, I actually really enjoyed it, and I really want to continue on with the other books. You have an alpha hero. I hate everyone in the world but you. There are knots, if you know what knots are. You have a Naga creature. It's post-apocalyptic. There is size difference and touch her and die. The next book that I have is Wreck the Halls by N.R. Scarano. Tiffany and I actually read this with a few other people on our live show that we had. So for our Beam Me Up book club pick for December, it didn't really work out well. Tiffany and I both weren't really feeling it. And so we were like, let's do live reading sprints instead, where we all read the same book. This is the book that viewers chose, which is Wreck the Halls. It is a female Krampus book, and she is out to kill Santa Claus because the Santa Claus race wiped out the Krampus race, and so she's like, I want revenge, and that's basically what this is about. But what she did not expect is that to have like history with this Santa that comes down the chimney. So it's hot. It's like a good little holiday read. I definitely recommend it if you're wanting like a hot Krampus book to read. It was so unique because you never see a female Krampus. Like, where else are you gonna find that? This is Assassin Turned Lover because she full on tries to kill him. It's a Christmas book. It's enemies to lovers. There's a Krampus character, and there's also a Santa character. Next, I have a Naughty by Sabrina B. Scales. This is a short, very hot holiday novella that I listened to on Libby. The cover is like very interesting on Goodreads, but this isn't what it looked like. Like, it's a cute cover on Libby. I gotta see if I can get the audiobook cover, because that cover is not available like either on Amazon or Goodreads. I don't know what it is, but this is a really hot black love neighbors romance during Christmas time. And that's all I want to say. It's literally like 20 pages long, so there's not else I can say. For tropes, black love, Christmas, neighbors romance, and it is a novella on audio. I wanted to start taking more advantage of the Whisper Sync feature on Kindle Unlimited. So there are certain books that if you get the Kindle Unlimited book, like if you download it off of Kindle Unlimited, you can listen to the audiobook for free. Not all books are like that. There are only books like in the catalog that are like that. So one of the books in the catalog is Love and Kerosene by Winter Renshaw. Very simple. This book is about our heroine whose fiance just died, and her fiance's twin brother comes back to the small town that she has taken up and is like, hey, this was my childhood home. You didn't marry him. There's no will for him. Like, this is my house. And she's like, well, I was gonna fix it up and sell it for a higher profit because I've put in so much money to fix up this house. So can you at least help me do that? And then you could get this house back. And he's like, okay, fine. So they live in this house together that they're renovating, and they end up falling for each other. It is kind of a little bit taboo because that is her dead fiance's twin brother. So this one is forced proximity, home renovation, and it is a part of the Whisper Sync program. I read my first Amy Dawes book. This is 9-month contract. Our hero is 40 something and he's really wanting a kid, so he has been in search for a surrogate. He just wants a kid. He doesn't want a woman. He just wants a kid. Okay. And the heroine bumps into that guy's younger sister. She's like, oh wait, you'd be perfect for a surrogate for my brother. Like, have you ever thought about it? So that's kind of how this book starts. The heroine becomes this hero's surrogate, and she's fully like not expectant. Like, she doesn't want to keep the kid. She doesn't want kids. Then when she gets to know our hero, his family, like learns to love this baby in her, like she's like, I think I actually do want this. So there's a lot of things going on in that one. Tropes, you have books with pets. The heroine like has so many pets. It's like a common theme in the book to like, she just keeps getting more and more pets for this farm. You have a duet narration. You have a mountain man, and romance where the heroine is pregnant. A holiday romance that I really loved this year was Wreck My Plans by Jillian Meadows. So for the past few years on Christmas, the heroine's brother's best friend hasn't been coming to Christmas. He doesn't really have a family of his own, so growing up, he came to Christmas with his best friend. However, the past 3 years, he hasn't shown up. And the heroine has told her family, like, hey, I'm gonna be with my friends this year, so like, don't worry about me. But that falls through when her best friend and her kids are like really sick. So she's like, you know what, I'll go with my family then. And that guy is finally back during Christmas time, only because he heard that she wasn't coming. So you're trying to figure out what happened to them and why isn't he showing up at Christmas time anymore? Like, and having to be around her, why is he avoiding her? And so it kind of like jumps back and forth to present time and past to figure out like what happened between them. I really enjoyed this one. It was so good, and I wasn't expecting there to be celiac disease representation. The hero just found out that he got diagnosed with celiac disease, and I love how the whole family was like full on board of like trying to accommodate to him. Like the heroine's mom like loves baking and stuff and has these old time recipes she's had for generations, but then like things she'll like quickly change. She's like, no, we're gonna make this gluten-free, like check out this gluten-free recipe instead. And so she's more than willing to change. So I really love that part of the book. It was so sweet to me. There's a lot of tropes in this one. Okay, yeah, it's angsty, it's an age gap, brother's best friend, there's celiac disease representation, it's a Christmas book, there's dirty talk, first proximity, friends to lovers, hero falls first, it's a holiday romance, there's longing between both characters, you have the secret tattoo trope, if you know what that is. I love the secret tattoo trope. It's a slow burn romance, and it is also a small town romance. I really recommend this one if you have not read it yet. Like, and you're still in the holiday mood, pick this one up or put it on your TBR for next year. The audiobook for this one popped into my Libby, and I was like, oh heck yes, we're gonna be listening to that right now. This is When She's Handy by Ruby Dixon, another novella, a part of a Rizdverse series. The hero is like basically the leader of this construction crew on this planet, and the heroine collects scrap metal and other spare parts to make like things that humans miss from Earth. So like right now she's trying to make some toasters, like because toasters don't really exist, I guess, on other planets, and some of the women on the planet really want a toaster, so she's been hired to make a toaster. And so she's trying to get scrap metal at this guy's like construction site. And when she sees him, she's like, oh my gosh, because they have a history. She used to be a slave and he saw her being mistreated and ended up paying for her, rescuing her, and they had a hookup afterward, and he kind of just sent her on her way and dropped her off at a human refugee planet, which is where the heroine is on right now. He is mortified about this though, because he thinks that he like used her. She's like, no, that night was great. What are you talking about? This is an alien romance novella. There are food allergies. There is a scene where the hero eats something he shouldn't have, and he has an allergic reaction. It's a Grumpy Sunshine, and you have the savior trope. Next, I read Change on the Fly, which is a book by Maren Moore. My first Maren Moore book. This is a hockey romance. I honestly don't remember anything about this book. Apologies, like I don't. All I know is that it's a hockey romance. That's all I have written down for the tropes. I did read this book. I read a historical romance next. This is Seducing a Stranger by Kerrigan Byrne. I love the beginning of this book. So the heroine is in an arranged marriage. She's engaged to marry this guy, and she finds out that he has a bunch of mistresses and he's gonna be hooking up with other women, and she's like, well, I'm never gonna let him into my bed, and I want to feel pleasure for once in my life. So before we get married, I am going to go to a male escort and have him take my virginity, essentially. That's what she does. She goes to this pleasure garden, and the hero of this story is in this pleasure garden because he is a detective and he's hunting someone down. They bump into each other in this garden, and the heroine immediately thinks that he is one of the male escorts in the garden. And she's like, oh my gosh, how much do I pay for you? Like, I'm really entranced by you. And he's like, what? And he kind of just goes along with it because he's really into this woman, and they have this grand old night together, and she finds out she's pregnant. Like, oh, it's messy, but it's fun. I really enjoyed it. And she has to like bump into this guy again, and she's like, wait a minute, are you a male escort and a detective? He's like, no, I'm just a detective. This one's a historical romance. You have a mistaken identity, one night stand amour, and surprise baby. The last book that I read in 2024 was So Wrong by Abby Millsap. I didn't know going into this one this was a why choose. So when I got like the third POV in the audiobook, I was like, whoa, why is another guy narrating? Like, what? And then I had to read the description, and I was like, oh, it's a why choose. And if y'all don't know me, I don't really like why choose romances because like I find it very hard to believe that all these guys should be chill with one woman wanting a bunch of guys at once. Like I find it so hard to believe. But in this one, I feel like it's done really well because both of the guys are like, no, I want her. No, I want her. Like, I like that. I didn't expect it to also end on like cliffhanger. So this is a new adult romance. Our heroine is in college. She moves back to the town that she like grew up in, and it is a romance with her best friend that she grew up with and her step brother. So yeah, and there might be like another guy thrown into the mix in the next book or something like that, but this was actually really enjoyable. Like I really enjoyed this one. Trope to this one, college romance, fake dating, because she has to fake date her best friend in this one, and then they realize that they're falling for each other. Flashbacks, it's a new adult romance, it's a sports romance, and it is a why choose. Anyways, there you have it. Those are all the books that I read in December. It was a lot. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, or if you plan to. And if you don't feel like commenting anything else, you can leave me a confetti emoji in the comment section down below because it is a new year. Happy New Year, everyone. But anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. I will see y'all soon in my next one. Bye, y'all.